Well, let's jump back to the nightmare scenario that is what the government is doing, and outside of the insanity of the left. So the general idea, I guess, like the reason I wanted to get into that is that you've got this cultural movement, which is just chaos. It's fire. It's rot. It's destructive. And you can see that at the federal level, I feel like they really, really are panicking. This idea of balkanization is real. When the states start saying, F you, when they were like, yo, we're going to lock down, and Texas and Florida were like, nah. Joe Biden said, we're going to have to lock down more. Meanwhile, people are pardoning it up in some of these states, clearly having no authority. Check out this story from the New York Post. The White House is flagging posts for Facebook to censor over COVID misinformation. We also saw that story where the Biden administration and the DNC were talking with text message providers, phone companies, to censor text messages. Oh, we crossed that Rubicon, baby. This is it.
That's no. We haven't crossed the Rubicon.
Bro, it happened.
I mean,
when Jen Psaki can go on TV and say, she emphasized the word for. She goes, we are flagging for Facebook. I was like, whoa, that's not constitutional in any stretch of the imagination. When they would normally do something like this, they would go, we are not telling Facebook what to do. We are merely asking them to enforce their rules to help this country. Even that is questionable. The government can't go to a private company and say, censor this. They can't. She's saying they're doing it. They talk about going after our text messages, bro. That Rubicon's been crossed.
So who's Caesar in this metaphor?
Joe Biden.
No. No one would follow him into battle.
Come on, man. I got hairy legs.
Joe Biden's like, I'm both Caesar and Brutus. I don't know what to do now.
I think the wonderful thing is there's no cult of personality here. If there was a cult leader, Democratic president that people were obsessed with, we might see this.
Trump?
Yeah, but he wasn't the Democratic leader. Like if there was a Democrat, if Biden was not Biden, but some
they don't
crazy
got
cult leader, that would be Rubicon danger where he could turn it into an empire.
We have a very strong First Amendment. So when you do stuff like this, that's not technically a formal attack on the First Amendment. That's referred to as chilling free speech, and you're not allowed via Supreme Court decisions to chill free speech in that way.
I don't know. I think this is overt. Like
they're not saying we're going to censor it. They're trying to do an end around to censor indirectly. So like that's the maneuver that they would be using. But that's also unconstitutional. It's called chilling free speech.
No, I think chilling free speech is different. I'm pretty sure if the Democrats are being sued over this in California, if the government goes to a private company and says censor this, it is the government taking an overt action, not chilling any. They're literally the ones doing the censorship.
Well, the way that you phrased it, it was like we're not saying censor it, but we're flagging this for Facebook.
No. I'm saying normally what the Democrats or the government would do is say, the government is not in the business of censoring Americans.
Right.
We're just letting Facebook know when there's misinformation and they can deal with it as they see fit. That's not what they're doing.
Right.
That's what you'd expect them to do. What they're doing now is Psaki is literally saying, we are flagging it for them to remove.
Okay. So that's what I
right. That's overtly. It would be like this. Imagine if the federal government was like, we hired Securitas to go arrest a bunch of people who are at church because they're Christian. You're not going to be like that's okay because a private company did it. Well, the government hires them to do it. The government instructs them to do it. They can't. That's literally what they're doing right now.
Yeah. This is like or maybe it will lead to the official return of Operation Choke Point, which was under the Obama administration, where they would target certain sketchy borderline industries and reach out to the banking companies and payment processors and all that and get them to stop doing business with them. And the whole point was like, we're going to do human trafficking. But then all of a sudden, people who were like legitimately actors in the porn industry would lose their bank accounts.
Right.
They're like, we're going to do gun smuggling. But all of a sudden, federally licensed firearm dealerships would lose their bank accounts. So like the Obama administration not formally created a list of industries and like industries that they determined to be adjacent to problems in the country, and they use federal power to get rid of that. Then Trump comes into office and these companies almost continue that program in his absence, and now Biden's back in and he's like, well, let's formalize what you guys have been doing already.
Here's the next. Glenn Greenwald tweets, the White House is admitting that they're compiling lists of people who they claim are posting content they regard as problematic and that constitute misinformation and are demanding Facebook remove them. This is authoritarianism. So how long until the White House puts out their list of extremist content producers and they say the insurrectionists were following these people, which of course is going to include most of the people you know and love, because people follow a lot of people. You know what they won't do? They won't point out that many of these same people will be following Brian Stelter on CNN. Well, but that's not relevant. But you'll see Crowder's name in there. You know, Sticks, X, and Hammer was like, I hope I make the list. What happens when they do that? And then they say the extremists, those who espouse incitement to insurrection, that is illegal, and we're going to shut down their accounts.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, I was told by one of these quote unquote insurrectionists that never went into the building that they watch my content. So like, ooh, I inspired an extremist. I somehow may have inspired somebody that's further to the right than me, much further, according to this like interpretation. But yeah, it's definitely a huge problem that they're doing this, and that they keep pushing the gas on censorship. Again, it's an informal, or it's the formalization of what was already happening while Trump was in office, what became normal. And like the Biden administration is totally cool with it. And we shouldn't be surprised, because remember, when Obama played the Facebook algorithm, the Facebook guys came up to him after he won his election, and they were like, we knew what you were doing, and we thought it was so cool because we were on your side.
Yep.
Trump plays the Facebook algorithm. They changed the rules completely.
Reddit.
Yeah, Reddit.
Yeah, the Donald dominated the front page of Reddit all the time. So they were like, we're going to remove the Donald from the front page, period.
As soon as Republicans figured out how to use the internet, they were like, well, you know, we got to have authoritative sources. So what if 95% of the mainstream media, except for Fox, is left-leaning? Don't worry about it. It's going to be authoritative.
And now they're untethered. The left is completely untethered from society because of once big tech started playing that game of we'll ban the conservatives, and that's literally what they're doing. There are some people on the left who get banned. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of them. But when people saw, and I don't think it was an intentional movement, I think it was a natural progression, that you've got left and right, and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube say this chunk of the right is gone, and this chunk of the left is gone. Now the whole Overton window just went and shifted far to the left. You get the rainbow bleep monkey. I think you can say butt.
That's
rainbow bleep butt monkey.
That's very interesting, because physically, if you had a structure of two pieces and you removed one of them, like the far right, you said was removed, that would release the scent. Like you said, it actually said untethered. Mm-hmm. Like you've removed the counterweight.
Exactly. Another way to put it is if your left fingertips get removed in an accident, but your whole right hand is removed in an accident, and you're right-handed, now you're going to be left-handed. You can still use your right arm for things providing support, but all of a sudden now everything's going to shift to the left where the resources are. So long as the censorship is 80% conservative and 20% left, everything's going to shift to the left because it's untethered. There's nothing holding them back anymore. So what do you get? Drag queen story hour. Because they don't care about what Republicans say, because you will get banned for criticizing these communities. If you say what your issue with it is, you're banned. Then it levels up. Now you've got rainbow bleep butt monkey showing up at the library, and the parents going, what? Yeah. And screaming and freaking out. Anatomically correct. Someone put on... Yeah, I won't talk too much about it, but yes.
They walked that back in the UK for, the next couple of months. They're never going to do anything like that again. But the Drag Queen Story Hour, I've been on this for years because I do a partnership with the David Horowitz Freedom Center.
Right.
And that's not just in public libraries. In certain districts in this country, that's in our public schools. So if you pay taxes, you're paying for Drag Queen Story Hour for these people to come to your school, read to your kids. And all the books are about how, you should probably think about gender transitioning. Like kindergartner. Have you ever considered this?
What? Do you ever been to a strip club?
Yes.
Ian?
Yeah.
Lydia?
No, I've not.
But I was there because I knew somebody that owned it.
So what a lot of people don't know is that in many states, maybe even most, they don't get fully nude. In fact, in many of these...
Lame.
Yeah,
it's true though. There's
topless only. If you have alcohol, you can't have full nude. A lot of times with alcohol,
in a lot of states, and especially a lot of red states.
Where the alcohol.
How are they still in business with the internet? I'm just questioning.
People like to be there physically.
Yeah,
but the other thing too is some places aren't even topless. Some states don't even allow topless. So you ask someone, what is it stripping, and they're going to assume full nude. That's actually not true. There are places, sure.
Just when they take off the beanie.
Yes. And here's the point. If you went to, say, I don't know, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks and asked them if they would support children taking off their clothes on stage as adult men, would you support an 11-year-old boy on stage taking off his clothing while adult men gave money to him every time he did. Now, of course, the boy was still wearing shorts and a t-shirt underneath his outfit, but it was pulling off the clothes and then getting money. Do you think they would support that? I actually think right now they wouldn't give you a straight answer because they'd be like, what are you talking about? What are you trying to say? I don't trust what you're asking. It's a straightforward question. The point is Cenk Uygur actually defended child stripping. I'm not exaggerating. This is not hyperbole. I'm not going to say the name of the child who does what they call drag shows. But drag shows are conspicuously similar to stripping, where he goes on the stage as a bunch of adults throw money to him and give him money as he takes his clothing off. And so I saw that, and I immediately was like, now that looks like stripping. Called some people I knew who worked in the industry, asked them some questions, and they said, I didn't ask them about the drag show. I said, what would you call this? And I said, a person on stage taking off an outer layer of clothing to reveal undergarments, maybe a t-shirt and shorts, while adults in the audience are giving money as they do it. And they were like, that's stripping. And I said, in that as I described it, like, of course. And I was like, but they don't get naked. No, but you don't always get naked. And I'm like, okay, so that would be stripping. Yes, absolutely. These are people I know who have worked in, some women in multiple states. And they explain, they're like, in Vegas, here's how it works. Vegas is like, they got brothels. In like the Dakotas, it's actually like this. In red states that are more religious, oh man, you have to be wearing like a full top. So quite literally, it's indistinguishable. And Cenk Uygur has a show where he actively defends the practice. So when we're at that level, I don't know. I don't even know what to say, man. That is untethered. That is what untethered means.
That was like a haymaker to my face when I saw that.
High profile, progressive YouTube channel with millions of followers, and he actively says prepubescent boys taking off their clothing for adult men at a bar for money is okay. I'm like, what? No, I'm sorry, dude. You've crossed the line. You are untethered from reality. Because I can sit here and be like, I actually think we need basic universal health care with private supplemental insurance. I'm in favor of that. I'm actually in favor of universal parental leave. I think we've got a big problem with parents not being there for their kids. I think if we had that some way solidified, would be fantastic. I think we got a huge problem that businesses are tied to healthcare. I think Andrew Yang was right about that. And I think the Young Turks have lost their minds when they defend child stripping.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you better stop attacking Cenk, otherwise Anna's gonna blackmail you. Cenk saying that is ridiculous, and they are very like weaselly about it because they'll deny it, but then they'll say how they're in favor of it. Like that's the trick. They're like, that's not happening, but also you're weird and creepy for being against it, even though, even under drag circumstances. So I asked around. Typically, they leave the money for whichever drag person is on the stage in like a jar away from that, so you don't have throwing the money at them. You don't have the image of them flinging dollar bills up there. And that's not even just a kid on a stage getting that image. It's also like after midnight. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Bringing
and without those, I'm pretty sure they were drinking, right?
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I don't want to say things unless I'm absolutely sure. So either way, it's untethered. So what happens is when you have a tribalism, the blob, it's absorbing institutions, and now the blob is saying that these things should happen, which are horrifying. It's disgusting. Cenk is scared that if he says the wrong thing, he'll offend his audience. So he defends it. And they had Jordan Klepper from Comedy Central saying, isn't it so great to hear what this kid has to say about being an advocate? And I'm like, you people are nuts. You've gone so far off the rails. It used to be, when I grew up, that the conservatives would argue something and it was an argument. Oh, no, you can't do that. Safe, legal, and rare for abortion. Now it's Lena Dunham saying she wished she got an abortion or whatever.
God bless
or whatever
abortion.
She said. Yeah, things like that. They've untethered. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.